There's a theory going around, not on the fringes of the internet, not in some dark corner of conspiracy forums, but spreading like wildfire across Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Millions of people are watching videos about it, sharing posts, building entire narratives around it. The theory? That Vice President J.D. Vance is preparing to use the 25th Amendment to remove Donald Trump from office. And according to those who believe it, the signs are already there. The clues have been dropped. The plan is in motion. Now, before you click away thinking this is just another crazy conspiracy theory, stay with me, because whether or not you believe it, understanding why this theory is going viral tells us something fascinating about American politics in 2025, about power, about trust, and about how modern conspiracies are built. So, let's break it down. What is this theory? Where did it come from? And why won't it die? Let's start with the basics. The 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Section 4. It's the nuclear option of American politics, the constitutional mechanism designed to remove a sitting president if they become unable to discharge the powers and duties of the office. Here's how it works. The vice president, along with a majority of the cabinet, can declare the president unfit to serve. They submit a written declaration to Congress, and boom, the vice president becomes acting president. The sitting president is out. It sounds dramatic, because it is. It's never been successfully used to remove a president in American history, ever. But that hasn't stopped people from speculating about it, especially when it comes to Trump. The theory started gaining traction during the 2024 campaign, long before Trump and Vance won. Groups like the Lincoln Project put out ads suggesting that if Trump won, Vance would eventually turn on him, that the real power players, the Silicon Valley billionaires, the Heritage Foundation, the architects of Project 2025, they didn't really want Trump, they wanted Vance. Trump was the vehicle, Vance was the driver. The ads painted a picture. Trump gets elected, serves for a while, then once he's done his job, once the MAGA base is satisfied, Vance and the cabinet invoke the 25th Amendment. Trump is declared unfit, and Vance, younger, sharper, more ideologically pure, takes over. It was provocative. It was designed to scare voters, and to a lot of people it sounded plausible. Why? Because of J.D. Vance's history. This is a guy who once called Trump America's Hitler, who said Trump was unfit for office, who was one of Trump's loudest critics in 2016, and then suddenly he became one of Trump's most loyal allies, a complete 180. People looked at that transformation and asked, is this genuine or is this calculated? Is Vance really a true believer or is he playing the long game? And here's where the theory gets interesting, because if you're looking for evidence that Vance might betray Trump, you can find it. Not because it's real, but because confirmation bias is a hell of a drug. Let's look at some of the so-called clues believers point to. Clue number 1, Vance's connections to powerful conservative institutions. He's deeply tied to the Heritage Foundation. He wrote the foreword to their 2017 report that became part of Project 2025. He's backed by Peter Thiel, the billionaire tech mogul who wants to reshape American government. He's a Federalist Society darling. These aren't fringe connections. These are the people who shape Republican policy. And according to the theory, they see Trump as a useful idiot, a populist figurehead who can win elections but doesn't have the discipline or ideology to implement their long-term vision. Vance does. Clue number 2, Trump's age and health. He's 79 years old. He'd be 82 by the end of his term, the oldest president in American history. Photos of his bruised hand went viral. The White House confirmed he has chronic venous insufficiency. People started asking, is he really up for this? Now, Trump's personal doctor says he's in great health. Vance himself has said Trump has incredible energy. But the speculation didn't stop because every stumble, every odd statement, every moment where Trump seems off gets interpreted as evidence that the clock is ticking. Clue number 3, historical precedent. Mike Pence refused to help Trump overturn the 2020 election. Trump turned on him viciously, called him a coward, let a mob chant, "Hang Mike Pence," outside the Capitol.
The relationship between Trump and his vice presidents has never been smooth. So when people look at Vance, they wonder, will history repeat itself? Is Vance just another Mike Pence waiting to happen? Or worse, is he a Brutus, a trusted ally with a knife hidden behind his back? Now, here's where we need to pump the brakes, because as compelling as this theory sounds, here's the reality. There is zero evidence that any of this is actually happening. None. Zilch. Nada. Let me be very clear. There are no credible reports from mainstream news organizations that Vance is plotting to use the 25th Amendment. No leaked documents, no insider testimony, no smoking gun. The videos circulating on Facebook and Twitter in December 2025 claiming Vance already invoked it, they don't exist. I searched extensively. They're not real.
What is real is speculation. Blog posts, opinion pieces, social media theories, people connecting dots that may not actually be connected. That's it. So if there's no evidence, why does this theory keep spreading? Why do millions of people believe it, or at least entertain it? Because it fits a narrative people already want to believe. Think about it. If you're anti-Trump, this theory is perfect. It suggests that even his own allies don't really trust him, that the Republican establishment sees him as expendable, that his grip on power is fragile. It's satisfying. If you're pro-Trump but skeptical of the establishment, this theory also works. It confirms your suspicion that the deep state, the elites, the never-Trumpers are out to get him, that they're just waiting for the right moment to stab him in the back. It's validating. The theory works for both sides. It's flexible, it adapts, and that's what makes it so viral. There's also the entertainment factor. Let's be honest. American politics in 2025 feels like a Netflix political thriller. House of Cards meets Succession. The idea that there's a secret plan, a conspiracy unfolding in real time, is way more interesting than the mundane reality of governance. People don't want to believe that politics is boring committee meetings and policy debates. They want drama, betrayal, power struggles, and this theory gives them that. Then there's the algorithm. Social media platforms prioritize engagement, and nothing drives engagement like conspiracy theories. The more outrageous the claim, the more people comment, share, argue. The algorithm sees that activity and pushes the content to more people. It's a feedback loop. A video claiming Vance is planning a coup gets way more views than a video explaining the nuances of the 25th Amendment. Conspiracy wins every time. And here's the kicker. The people spreading this theory aren't necessarily bad actors. They're not all trolls or grifters. Many of them genuinely believe it. They've seen the pattern recognition. They've connected the dots. They've convinced themselves this is real. That's how modern conspiracies work. You start with a kernel of truth. Vance did criticize Trump. Trump is old. The 25th Amendment does exist. Then you build a narrative around those facts. You add speculation. You interpret ambiguous events in ways that support your theory. And before you know it, you've created a fully formed conspiracy that feels real. But feelings aren't facts.
Let's talk about what would actually have to happen for this theory to be true, because the logistics alone should tell you how unlikely this is. First, Vance would have to convince a majority of Trump's cabinet to turn on the president. These aren't random bureaucrats. These are Trump loyalists, people he personally selected, people whose careers are tied to his success. Getting them to agree that Trump is unfit would be nearly impossible. Second, even if Vance got the cabinet on board, Trump could contest it. The 25th Amendment allows the president to fight back. He can submit his own declaration to Congress saying he's perfectly fine, and then Congress has to decide. A 2/3 vote in both the House and Senate would be required to keep Trump out. 2/3. In this political climate? Good luck. Third, the political fallout would be catastrophic. Trump's base would lose their minds. MAGA supporters would see it as the ultimate betrayal. Vance would become the most hated man in conservative America overnight. His political career would be over. The Republican Party would fracture. It would be chaos. And for what? so Vance can be president a few years early? The risk-reward doesn't make sense. But let's say, hypothetically, it did happen. What would it look like? It wouldn't be secret, it would be front-page news on every outlet in the world. CNN, Fox News, the New York Times, the Washington Post. Everyone would be covering it 24/7. It would be the biggest political story of the century. There would be leaks, staffers would talk, cabinet members would resign and protest. The White House would be in crisis mode. You wouldn't need to search for proof on Facebook. It would be unavoidable.
The fact that none of that is happening should tell you everything you need to know. So why am I telling you all this? Because conspiracy theories matter, even when they're false, especially when they're false. They erode trust in institutions. They polarize communities. They make it harder to have rational political conversations. When millions of people believe their leaders are secretly plotting against them, democracy gets a little bit harder. And here's the thing. This particular conspiracy isn't even the most dangerous one out there, but it's a perfect case study in how misinformation spreads, how confirmation bias works, how algorithms amplify nonsense, how our brains are wired to see patterns even when they don't exist. So, the next time you see a viral video claiming J.D. Vance is about to invoke the 25th Amendment, ask yourself, where's the evidence? What are the sources? Is this speculation or fact? Is this coming from credible journalists or random accounts with no verification? Critical thinking isn't sexy. It's not as fun as believing in conspiracies, but it's necessary because the truth matters, even when it's boring. The 25th Amendment theory about J.D. Vance is compelling. It's dramatic, it's viral, but it's not real. At least not yet, and probably not ever. Does that mean Vance and Trump have a perfect relationship? No. Does it mean there's no tension, no power struggles, no ambition? Of course not. Politics is full of that. But there's a difference between political tension and a constitutional coup. And right now, there's no evidence we're anywhere close to the latter. So what's the takeaway? Be skeptical. Question everything. Don't let algorithms decide what's true. Don't let viral videos replace journalism. And don't let your biases make you believe something just because you want it to be true. The 25th Amendment is real. J.D. Vance is ambitious. Trump is unpredictable. But that doesn't mean this conspiracy is happening. It just means we live in interesting times. And interesting times are breeding grounds for compelling fiction. Don't mistake it for fact.